Shopaholic&Sis Chapter 6. By 10 o'clock the next morning, I'm ready, and I don't want to boast, but as I survey myself in the mirror, I look utterly fab. I went to the riding shop in the next village first thing in the morning and totally kidded myself out. I'm wearing snowy white jodhpurs, a tailored black riding jacket, shiny boots, and a beautiful new velvet riding hat. Proudly, I reached for my piece de resistance, a big red rosette with shiny ribbons. There were loads of them for sale, so I bought one in every color. I carefully pin it onto my collar, like a corsage, smooth down my jacket, and look at the effect. Gosh, I look so cool. I look like I'm going to win at Crufts. No, I don't mean Crufts. That's the dog show. I mean the other one, the horse show. I can start riding every day in Hyde Park, I think, in a sudden burst of excitement. I'll practice hard and get really good. Then I can come down here every weekend and ride with Suze. While I was in the shop, I even filled out a form for a riding competition next month as a little incentive. Tally-ho, says Luke, coming into the bedroom. You look very dashing, very sexy. He raises his eyebrows. Great boots. How long are you going to be? Not that long, I say knowledgeably. We're just going to go for a hike through the woods. Becky? Luke looks at me carefully. Have you ever been on a horse in your life? Yes, of course I have. Once when I was 10 and I fell off, but I probably wasn't concentrating or something. Just be careful, won't you? He says. I'm not quite ready to become a widower. I'll be fine, I say, glancing at my special new equestrian watch with compass built in. I'd better go. The horses are all kept some way from the house in a stable block, and as I approach, I can hear the sounds of whinnying and hooves clattering in the stable yard. Hi, says Lulu, appearing around the corner in a pair of ancient jodhpurs and a fleece jacket. All set, she breaks off as she sees me. Oh my God, she snorts with laughter. Suze, come and look at Becky. What is it? Suze hurries around the corner and stops dead. Gosh, Beck, she says, you're very smart. I'd taken Suze's filthy old jodhpurs, her muddy boots, and her battered riding hat. As I look down at my own shiny gear, I suddenly feel mortified. How could I have been so stupid? But I'm not going to act embarrassed in front of Lulu. Chin up. I wanted to make an effort, I say, trying to sound light and matter-of-fact. What's that? Lulu's looking incredulously at my rosette. It's a corsage. They were selling them in the riding shop, I add pointedly. For the horses? Sue says gently. Bex, they go on the horses. Oh. For a moment, I'm a bit discomfited, but then, why shouldn't people wear them too? Here we are. Albert, who runs the horses at Suze's parents' place, interrupts us. He's leading an enormous brown horse along by the reins. We're putting you on Ginger today. He's pretty good-natured, aren't you, boy? I freeze in horror. This? He's expecting me to get on this monster? I was envisioning some nice little pony. Albert hands me the reins, and I take them automatically, trying not to panic. The horse takes a step forward with an enormous heavy hoof, and I give a frightened jump out of the way. What if it steps on my foot? Are you going to mount? Asked Lulu, swinging herself up into the saddle of a horse which is, if anything, bigger than mine. Of course, I say, with a nonchalant laugh. How am I supposed to get up there? Want a leg up, says Tarquin, who has been talking to Albert a few yards away. He comes up behind me, and before I know it, he's hefted me right up into the saddle. Oh my gosh, I'm so high. When I look down, I feel dizzy. Suddenly, Ginger takes a step sideways, and I try not to gasp in fright. Shall we go? Calls Suze, who's on her old black horse, Pepper. And with a clip-clop, she's off through the gate into the field. Lulu makes a clicking sound with her tongue, swings her horse around, and follows. Right, my turn. Go. Go on, horse. Move. I have no idea what to do next. Do I kick in? Experimentally, I pull up on one of the reins, but nothing happens. Gee up, I mutter under my breath. Gee up, Ginger. Suddenly, as though he's noticed that his friends have gone, he starts walking forward. And it's okay. It's fine. Just a bit more bumpy than I had imagined. I look ahead at Lulu, and she's totally comfortable. In fact, she's got her reins gathered up in one hand. Close the gate, she yells to me. Close the gate? I think in panic. How am I supposed to close the gate? I'll do it, Tarquin calls. Have a good time. Okay, I call back gaily. Right. As long as we just keep ambling along, I'll be okay. In fact, this could almost be fun. The sun's shining, the breeze is ruffling the grass, and the horses are all lovely and shiny. Some people are walking along the side of the field on a footpath, and as we pass by, I give them a nonchalant, don't I look great on my horse nod, and twirl my riding crop. And they look really impressed. Maybe I found my natural talent. Maybe Luke and I should buy some horses and a few acres of land. We could do field events and show jumping like Sue's. Shit, what's going on? All of a sudden, Ginger has started jolting up and down. Okay, don't panic. This must be trotting. I look at Susan and Lulu, and they're both rising up and falling in time with their horses. I try to copy them, but all that happens is I crash painfully back onto the saddle. Ouch. Gosh, saddles are hard. Why don't they make them padded? If I were a horse saddle designer, I'd make them really soft and comfy with furry cushions and drink holders maybe. And shall we canter? Suze calls over her shoulder. Before I can reply, she's kicked her horse and is zooming away like National Velvet, closely followed by Lulu. We don't have to canter, Ginger, I say quickly to the horse. We can just... Oh my gosh, he's taken off after the others. Fuck. Oh fuck, I am going to fall off. I know I am. My whole body is rigid. I'm clenching the saddle so hard it's hurting my hands. Are you okay, Bex? Shouts Suze. Fine, I call back. But I just want this to stop. The wind is streaming past my face. I feel ill with terror. I'm going to die. My life is over. The only plus I can think of is it'll sound really cool when they report it in the papers. A keen horsewoman, Rebecca Brandon, née Bloomwood, died while out cantering with her friends. Oh gosh, I think he's slowing down at last. We're trotting. We're kind of jogging. We're finally coming to a halt. Somehow I managed to unclench my hands. Isn't it lovely, says Suze, turning around on Pepper. Her blonde hair is streaming out from under her hat, and her cheeks are flushed pink. Shall we have a really good gallop? Gallop? You have to be kidding. If Ginger takes one more step, I'll throw up. Can you jump yet, Beck? She asks. There's just a couple of little ones coming up, but you should be able to manage them, she says encouragingly. You're really good. For a moment, I can't speak. I just need to adjust my stirrup, I manage at last. You two go on. I wait until the two of them are out of sight before I slither to the ground. My legs are all shaky, and I feel nauseous. I'm never leaving solid ground again. Never. Why on earth would people do this for fun? I sink down onto the grass and take off my new riding hat, which, to be honest, has been hurting my ears since I put it on. Susan and Lulu are probably miles away by now, galloping along and talking about nappies. Come on, I say to Ginger, let's walk back. I stand up and cautiously pull the reins. and to my astonishment, he obediently follows. This is more like it. As I walk across the grass, I start to relax a bit. A horse is actually a pretty cool accessory. Who says you need to get on it? I could still go to Hyde Park every day. I could buy a really pretty horse and just lead it around like a dog. And if any passersby ask, "Why aren't you riding?" I just give them a knowing smile and say, "We're resting today." We wander along for a while and at last come to an empty road. I stand for a moment looking from left to right. In one direction, the road disappears up a hill and around a corner. In the other, I can see what seems to be quite a sweet little village, all beamed houses and a patch of grass, and ooh, are those shops? Half an hour later, I feel a lot better. I've bought some gorgeous cheese with walnuts in it, and some gooseberry preserve, and some huge radishes, which Luke will love. And best of all, I found this amazing little shop that sells hats, right here in this village. Apparently, the milliner is local, and is practically the next Philip Treacy. I mean, not that I wear hats that often, but I'm bound to be invited to a wedding soon, or ascot or something. And the prices were fantastic, so I bought a white one decorated with ostrich feathers and a black velvet one all covered in jewels. They're a bit cumbersome in their hat boxes, but they were so worth it. Ginger whinnies as I approach the lamppost where I tied him up and stamps his foot on the ground. "Don't worry," I say, "I haven't left you out." I bought him a bag full of Chelsea buns and some quote-unquote extra sheen shampoo for his mane. I reach in the bag and feed him one of the Chelsea buns, trying not to shudder as he slobbers on my hand. The only slight problem now is where am I going to put all my shopping? I can't very easily hold all these carrier bags and lead Ginger along the road. Should I try to mount him carrying my shopping? What did people do in the olden days? Then suddenly, I noticed a big buckle on one of Ginger's saddle straps. I could easily hang him back off that. I pick up one of the paper carriers and loop it over the buckle, and it hangs there perfectly. And now that I look properly, there are handy buckles all over Ginger's tack. Genius. Happily, I start hanging bags from every available hook, strap, and buckle on Ginger's tack. This is great. I never realized a horse could hold so much shopping. Last of all, I tie my 2 hat boxes onto the side. They are so gorgeous, all pink and white candy stripes. I untie Ginger and start leading him out of the village, trying to stop the hat boxes bobbing up and down too much. A couple of people gawp as we go by, but that's okay. They're probably just not used to strangers in these parts. We're just approaching the first bend when I hear a clattering sound ahead. The next moment, Susan and Lulu appear on their horses. "There she is," says Lulu, shading her eyes against the sun. "Bex," cries Suze, "we were worried. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I call back. "We've been having a lovely time." As they come near, I can see Suze and Lulu exchanging stunned glances. "Bex, what have you done to Ginger?" says Suze, her eyes running over all the bags and boxes in disbelief. "Nothing," I say. "He's fine. I just took him shopping. I got these 2 great hats." I wait for Suze to say, "Let's see them," but she looks totally gobsmacked. "She took a horse shopping," Lulu says slowly. She glances at me, then leans over and whispers something in Suze's ear. Suddenly, Suze gives a helpless snort and claps her hand to her mouth. I feel my face flame. She's laughing at me. Somehow I never thought Suze would laugh at me. As soon as we're back at the house, Lulu heads off home and Suze has to rush in and feed the twins. I'm left in the stable yard with Albert, who is a total sweetie and helps me untie all my bags and packages from Ginger's tack. I'm walking out when Luke approaches in his Barbour and Wellingtons. "So how was it?" he says cheerfully. "It was all right," I say, staring at the ground. I'm waiting for Luke to ask what's wrong, but he seems distracted. "Becky, I've just had a call from Gary at the office," he says. "We need to get going on the Arcotas group pitch. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to head back to town. But listen, why don't you stay on here for a few days?" He smiles. "I know how desperate you were to see Suze." And suddenly I feel a swell of emotion. He's right. I was desperate to see Suze, and I'm bloody well going to. Who cares about stupid Lulu? I'm going to have a proper chat with my best friend right now. I hurry into the house to find her in the kitchen, feeding both the twins at once while Ernie fights for a place in her lap. "Suze, listen," I say eagerly. "It's your birthday coming up. I want to treat you to something really special. Let's go to Milan, just the two of us." "Milan?" She looks up, her face strained. "Ernie, stop it, sweetheart. Bex, I can't go to Milan. What about the babies?" "They could come with us." "No, they couldn't," says Suze, sounding almost sharp. "Bex, you just don't understand." I smart at her words. Why does everyone keep telling me I don't understand? How do they know? "Okay then," I say, trying to stay cheerful. "Let's have a fab birthday lunch right here. I'll bring all the food. You won't have to do a thing." "I can't," Sue says without looking at me. "Actually, I've already made plans for my birthday. Lulu and I are going to a spa for the day. A special mother and baby day. She's treating me." I can't hide my shock. Suze and I always spend our birthdays together. Right. I focus on the back of the door where an ancient tweed jacket about 6 dog leads and what seems to be a dead pheasant are hanging. Well, have fun. Enjoy it. There's silence in the kitchen. I don't know what to say. I've never not known what to say to Suze. "Bex, you weren't here," Suze says suddenly, and I can hear the distress in her voice. "You weren't here. What was I supposed to do? Have no friends?" "Of course not," I say brightly. "Don't be silly." "I couldn't have survived without Lulu. She's been a real support to me out here." "Of course she has." Tears are suddenly pricking at my eyes, and I turn away, fiercely blinking them back. "Well, you have fun together. I'm sure you will." "Bex, don't be like that. Look, I'll speak to Lulu about the spa. I'm sure we could find a third place." "She's taking pity on me. I can't bear it." "No." With an almighty effort, I manage a laugh. "Really, it's no big deal. I probably wouldn't have time anyway. In fact, I came in to tell you we have to go back to London. Luke's got work engagements." "Now?" Suze looks taken aback. "But I thought you were going to stay for a few days." "We've got loads to do." I lift my chin. "Everything's different for me, too, you know. I'm a married woman now. I've got to set up the flat, look after Luke. There are some dinner parties." "Right," Suze hesitates. "Well, it's been lovely to see you, anyway." "You too. It's been fun. We must do it again." We sound totally false, both of us. There's silence. My throat is tight. I'm going to cry. No, I'm not. "So I'll just go and pack," I say at last. "Thanks for a lovely time." I leave the room, pick up my shopping, and walk away. And my bright smile lasts all the way to the stairs. And at the end of this chapter, there's a letter from Nether Pleaton Gymkhana, Manor Stables, Pleaton, Hampshire, SO208EX, to Mrs. Rebecca Brandon, 37 Maida Vale Mansions, Maida Vale, London, NW6, 0YF. 30 April 2003. Dear Mrs. Brandon, Thank you for your letter concerning the Netherpleton Gymkhana next week. I confirm that I have withdrawn your name from the following classes: General Horsemanship, Open Jumping, Senior Dressage. Perhaps you could let me know if you still wish to enter for Best Kept Pony. With kind regards, Marjorie Davies, Organizer. Chapter 7. Anyway, it doesn't matter. People get married and they move on and their friends change, that's all. It's perfectly normal. Suze has her life and I have my life. It's fine. A week has gone by since the christening and she's barely crossed my mind. I take a sip of orange juice, pick up the Financial Times, which Luke left on the breakfast counter, and begin flicking briskly through the pages. Now that I'm married, I expect I'll make loads of new friends, too. It's not like I'm dependent on Suze or anything. I'll start an evening class or a book group or something, and my new friends will be really nice ones who don't ride horses and have children with stupid names like Cosmo. I take a sip of coffee and plaster some more chocolate spread on my toast. I'm sitting in the kitchen of Luke's flat in Maida Vale having a late breakfast. I mean, our flat in Maida Vale. I keep forgetting it's half mine now. Luke lived here for ages before we were married, but when we went to live in New York, he had it all done up and rented it out. And it is the trendiest place in the world. All minimalist with this amazing stainless steel kitchen, pale beige carpets, and just the odd bit of modern art here and there. I do like it, of course I do. Although, I suppose if I'm totally honest, it's a tad bare for my taste. Luke has quite a different style from mine when it comes to decorating. His approach is basically no things anywhere, whereas mine is more lots of things everywhere. But it doesn't matter because I read this article about couples in an interiors magazine, and it said fusing two different styles need not be a problem. Apparently all we have to do is meld our individual ideas and do some mood boards together and create a signature look. And today is the perfect day to start because any minute now, all our honeymoon purchases are going to be delivered from the storage company. Luke stayed behind from work especially to help. It'll be quite a project, I expect, which just shows I'm so busy I don't even have time for friends. I'm feeling really excited about seeing all our souvenirs again. Arranging the little mementos of our honeymoon around the apartment. It'll really make a difference, this place, having a few personal objects here and there. The post's here, Luke says, coming into the kitchen. He's in his suit since he'll be going into the office later, and his hair is trimmed all short and businesslike again. He had a cut almost as soon as we got back to London, because, as he said, Italy is one thing, but Britain is another. I suppose he has a point, but I can't help feeling a bit wistful every time I see his bare neck. That little untanned patch of skin below his hairline is the only reminder of the way he was on our honeymoon. There's a letter for you, he adds, handing me an envelope. Oh, right, I take it from him, feeling nervous. Ever since we got back to London, I've been approaching all the big department stores for a job as a personal shopper. I've got a great reference from Barney's, and everyone's been really nice to me. But so far, all I'm getting told is that there are no openings right now, which, to be honest, has been a bit of a blow. I thought I'd be fighting off offers. I even had this little fantasy where all the head personal shoppers at Harrods and Harvey Nichols and Selfridges took me out to lunch and gave me free clothes to persuade me to join them. As calmly as I can, I pull the letter out of the envelope. This one is from a new shop called The Look, which hasn't even opened yet. It's going to be a huge new store just up from Oxford Street, full of great clothes and accessories, and the gimmick is that there will be loads of personal shoppers available to help you pull your look together. They want someone to run and train the team, and had already heard about me from their contact in New York. I went to see them a couple of days ago, and I thought I did okay, but oh my gosh, I look up in disbelief. I got it. They want me. Fantastic. Luke's face creases in a smile. Congratulations. He puts an arm around me and gives me a kiss. Except I won't be needed for 3 months, I say, reading farther down. That's when the store opens. I put the letter down and look at him. 3 whole months. It's quite a long time not to have a job. Or any money, I'm thinking. I'm sure you'll find something to do, says Luke cheerfully. Some project or other. You'll have plenty to keep you busy. The buzzer suddenly goes in the hall, and we look at each other. That must be the delivery people, I say, feeling my spirits rise. Let's go down. Luke's penthouse has its own lift right to the front door, which is just so cool. So where shall we tell them to put everything, he says, as he presses the ground floor button. I thought we could pile it all up in the corner of the sitting room, I suggest, behind the door. Then I can sort it out while you're at work. Luke nods. Good idea. I suddenly remember the 20 Chinese silk dressing gowns. Maybe I'll be able to smuggle them in without Luke seeing. And if there's any overspill, I add casually, we could always put it in the second bedroom. Overspill? Luke frowns. Becky, how much stuff are you expecting? Not that much, I say quickly. Hardly anything. I just meant if they've packed things in really huge boxes or something. That's all. Luke looks a bit suspicious, and I turn away, pretending to be adjusting my watch strap. Now the moment's nearly here, I'm feeling just the tiny qualm. I kind of wish I'd told him about the wooden giraffes. Should I quickly confess? No, it doesn't matter. It'll be fine. Luke's flat is huge. I mean, it's vast. I'll never notice a few extra things. We push open the double doors of Luke's building and walk out to see a man in jeans waiting on the side of the road by a small van. Mr. Brandon, he says, looking up. I feel a small whoosh of relief. I knew we hadn't bought that much stuff. I mean, just look at that van. It's tiny. Yes, that's me. Luke holds out his hand with a pleasant smile. Any idea where we can park the lorries? The man scratches his head. Only we're in a no parking zone around the corner. Lorries? Echoes Luke. What do you mean, lorries? His smile has kind of frozen on his face. We've got 2 lorries to unload. Can we take them into the parking bay there? The man gestures at the forecourt of the building. Of course, I say quickly, as Luke doesn't seem able to speak. Go ahead. The man disappears. So, I say brightly, this is fun. 2 lorries, says Luke. It must be a shared load, I say quickly, with someone else. I mean, obviously we haven't bought 2 lorry loads of stuff. Which is true. I mean, it's ridiculous. In 10 months we couldn't possibly have. I'm sure we couldn't have. Oh, gosh. There's a rumbling from around the corner, and a big white lorry appears, closely followed by another. They back into the forecourt of Luke's building, and there are huge grinding noises as the backs are lowered. Luke and I hurry around and peer into the crowded depths. What an amazing sight. Each whole lorry is crammed with objects and furniture. Some wrapped in plastic, some in paper, and some barely wrapped at all. As I feast my eyes on all this stuff, I start to feel quite emotional. It's like seeing a home video of our entire honeymoon. The Kilims from Istanbul, the gourds from Peru, and I'd totally forgotten about buying that papoose carrier. Some men in overalls start lifting things up and carrying them out. We stand aside to let them pass, but I'm still gazing around the inside of one of the lorries, lost in memories. I suddenly glimpsed a bronze statue and turned around with a smile. The Buddha! Do you remember when we got that, Luke? Luke isn't listening to a word. I follow his gaze and feel a slight flip of apprehension. He's staring in disbelief at a man carrying a huge paper wrap package out of the other lorry. A wooden giraffe's leg is poking out of it. Shit. And now here comes another man in overalls with the matching one. Becky, what are these giraffes doing here? Luke says evenly. I thought we agreed not to buy them. I know, I say hurriedly. I know we did, but we would have regretted it. So I made an executive decision. Honestly, Luke, they'll look great. They'll be a focal point of the whole apartment. And where did those come from? Now Luke's looking at a pair of huge porcelain urns, which I got in Hong Kong. Oh, yes, I say quickly. I was going to tell you about those. Guess what? They're copies of real Ming. The man said, but what the fuck are they doing here? I bought them. They'll be perfect in the hall. They'll be a focal point. Everyone will admire them. And that rug? He points to a huge, multicolored rolled-up sausage. It's called a dhuri, actually. My voice trails away at his expression. I got it in India, I add feebly, without consulting me. Not sure I like Luke's expression. Ooh, look, I exclaim, trying to distract him. It's a spice rack you bought at that Kenyan market. Luke totally ignores me. He's goggling at a huge, unwieldy contraption being unloaded from the first lorry. It looks like a combination of a xylophone and a set of hanging copper saucepans all in one. What the hell is that? Is that some kind of musical instrument? The gongs all start clanging loudly as the men unload it, and a couple of passers-by nudge each other and giggle. Even I'm having second thoughts about this one. Yes, I clear my throat. Actually, that's an Indonesian gamelan. There's a short silence. An Indonesian gamelan, echoes Luke. His voice caught a bit in his throat. It's cultural, I say defensively. I thought we could learn to play it, and it'll be a great focal point. Exactly how many focal points are we planning to have? Luke looks beside himself. Becky, is all this stuff ours? Dining table coming out, calls the guy in overalls. Mind yourselves. Thank goodness. Okay, quick, let's redeem the situation. Look, darling, I say hurriedly. It's our dining table from Sri Lanka, remember? Our personalized table, our symbol of married love. I give him an affectionate smile, but he's shaking his head. Becky, don't spoil the moment. I put an arm around him. It's our special honeymoon table. It's our heirloom of the future. We have to watch it being delivered. Okay, Luke says at last. Whatever. The men are carefully carrying the table down the ramp, and I have to say I'm impressed. Bear in mind how heavy it is. They seem to be managing it quite easily. Isn't it exciting? I clutch Luke's arm as it comes into sight. Just think. There we were in Sri Lanka. I break off a little confused. This isn't a wooden table after all. It's a transparent glass table with curved steel legs. And another guy behind is carrying a pair of trendy red felt-covered chairs. I stare at it in horror. A cold feeling is creeping over me. Shit. The table I bought at the Copenhagen Design Fair. I'd totally forgotten about that. How could I forget I bought a whole dining table? How? Hold on, Luke's calling, his hand raised. Guys, that's the wrong table. Ours is wooden. A big carved wood table from Sri Lanka. There's one of them at all, says the delivery guy in the other lorry. But we didn't buy this, says Luke. He gives me a questioning look, and I quickly rearrange my features, as though to say I'm as baffled as you are. Inside, my mind is working frantically. I'll deny I've ever seen it. We'll send it back. It'll all be fine. Shipped by Mrs. Rebecca Brandon, the guy reads aloud from the label. Table and 10 chairs from Denmark. Here's the signature. Fuck. Very slowly, Luke turns toward me. Becky, did you buy a table and 10 chairs in Denmark? He says almost pleasantly. I lick my lips nervously. I might have. I see. Luke closes his eyes for a moment, as though weighing up a math problem. And then you bought another table and 10 more chairs in Sri Lanka? I forgot about the first one, I say desperately. I totally forgot. Look, it was a very long honeymoon. I lost track of a few things. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see a guy picking up the bundle of 20 Chinese silk dressing gowns. Shit. I think I have to get Luke away from these lorries as soon as possible. We'll sort it all out, I say quickly, I promise. But now, why don't you go upstairs and have a nice drink? You just relax, and I'll stay down here and do the supervising. An hour later, it's all finished. The men close up the lorries, and I hand them a hefty tip. As they roar away, I look over to see Luke coming out the front door of the building. Hi, I say. Well, that wasn't too bad, was it? Do you want to come upstairs a minute? Luke says in a strange voice. As we travel up in the lift, I smile at Luke a couple of times, but he doesn't smile back. So did you put all the stuff in the sitting room, I say, as we approach the front door? Or in the... My voice dies away as the door swings open. Oh my gosh. Luke's flat is totally unrecognizable. The beige carpet has disappeared under a sea of parcels, trunks, and pieces of furniture. The hall is crammed with boxes, which I recognize from the outlet in Utah, plus the batik paintings from Bali and the 2 Chinese urns. I edge past them into the sitting room and gulp as I look around. There are packages everywhere. Rolled up kilims and duris are propped up in one corner. In another, the Indonesian gamelan is jostling for space at the slate coffee table, turned on its side, and a Native American totem pole. I'm sensing it's my turn to speak. Gosh, I give a little laugh. There are quite a lot of rugs, aren't there? 17, says Luke, still in the same strange voice. I've counted. He steps over a bamboo coffee table, which I got in Thailand, and looks at the label of a large wooden chest. This box apparently contains 40 mugs. He looks up. 40 mugs? I know it sounds like a lot, I say quickly, but they were only about 50 pence each. It was a bargain. We'll never need to buy mugs ever again. Luke regards me for a moment. Becky, I never want to buy anything ever again. Look, I try to step forward, but bump my knee on a painted wooden statue of Ganesh, the god of wisdom and success. It's not that bad. I know it seems like a lot, but it's like an optical illusion. Once it's all unpacked and we put it all away, it'll look great. We have 5 coffee tables, says Luke, ignoring me. Were you aware of that? Well, I clear my throat. Not exactly. So I might have to rationalize a bit. Rationalize? Luke looks around the room incredulously. Rationalize this lot? It's a mess. Maybe it looks a bit of a mishmash at the moment, I say hurriedly. But I can pull it all together. I can make it work. It'll be our signature look. If we just do some mood boards. Becky, Luke interrupts. Would you like to know what mood I'm in right now? I watch nervously as Luke shifts 2 packages from Guatemala aside and sinks down on the sofa. What I want to know is, how did you pay for all this? He asks, wrinkling his brow. I had a quick check through our bills, and there's no record of any Chinese urns, or giraffes, or tables from Copenhagen. He gives me a hard look. What's been going on, Becky? I'm totally pinned. Even if I did want to run, I'd probably skewer myself on Ganesh's pointy fingers. Well, I can't quite meet his eye. I do have this credit card. The one you keep hidden in your bag, says Luke without missing a beat. I checked that too. Oh gosh, there's no way out of this. Actually, not that one. I swallow hard. Another one. Another one? Luke is staring at me. You have a second secret credit card? It's just for emergencies. Everyone has the odd emergency. What, emergency silk dressing gowns? Emergency Indonesian gamelans? There's silence. I can't quite reply. My fingers are all twisted in knots behind my back. So, you've been paying it off secretly, is that it? He looks at my agonized face and his expression changes. You haven't been paying it off? The thing is, my fingers twist even tighter. They gave me quite a big limit. For gosh sake, Becky. It's okay, I'll pay it off. You don't need to worry about anything, I'll take care of it. With what? Retorts Luke. My face flames with humiliation. I know I'm not earning right now, but he doesn't have to rub it in. When I start my job, I say, trying to sound calm, I am going to have an income, you know, Luke. I'm not some kind of freeloader. Luke looks at me for a few moments, then sighs. I know, he says gently. He holds out his hand. Come here. After a moment, I pick my way across the crowded floor to the sofa. I find a tiny space to sit down. He puts his arm around me. For a while, we both look silently at the ocean of clutter. It's like we're 2 survivors on a desert island. Becky, we can't carry on like this, Luke says at last. Do you know how much our honeymoon cost us? No. Suddenly it strikes me that I have absolutely no idea what anything has cost. It was me who bought the round-the-world airline tickets, but apart from that, Luke's been doing all the paying all the way along. Has our honeymoon ruined us? I glance sideways at Luke and for the first time see how stressed he looks. Oh gosh, we've lost all our money and Luke's been trying to hide it from me. I suddenly feel like the wife in It's a Wonderful Life when James Stewart comes home and snaps at the children. Even though we're on the brink of financial disgrace, it's my role to be brave and serene. Luke, are we very poor? I ask as calmly as I can. Luke turns his head and looks at me. No, Becky, he says patiently, we're not very poor, but we will be if you keep buying mountains of crap. Mountains of crap. I'm about to make an indignant retort when I see his expression. Instead, I close my mouth and nod humbly. So I think, Luke pauses, I think we need to institute a budget.